All right, so our cans are clean in the dishwasher. So this is our recipe that we've used before from food.com. So this is my absolute favorite salsa ever. So it uses a lot of zucchini, onions, green pepper, red pepper, and then of course all the spices, and 5 cups of chopped ripe tomatoes, a little bit of tomato paste. So pretty much everything in here except for the tomato paste and the onion will be from our garden. So what we went ahead and already did yesterday was peel and shred the zucchini, and then chopped up onion, green pepper, and bell pepper. And then that has to be salted and sit in the fridge overnight, draw out all the moisture. So this, after we add the tomatoes and all the spices, will probably make, oh, and then there's more here in the sink that Matt drained. He's filling up our canning pot. Once we get the jars full, then they'll go in the water bath to seal the lids. So yeah, we're about to make tons of salsa. Correction, you drain and rinse. So this colander is full. That I think is already drained and rinsed. So yep. Alright, so we put in the zucchini, onion, pepper mix, and now we are adding our chopped tomatoes. We're adding 12 cups of chopped tomatoes, which ended up being 3 of our Fred tomatoes. So yeah, 3 of those big monsters is 12 cups of chopped tomatoes. So now we need to add in all of our spices. So first we are adding in the pickling salt. So we did already add in the 1/4 cup when we were doing the overnight pulling out all the moisture. So now rinsing it out. So now we're adding more pickling salt into the pot. So next is gonna be the dry mustard, 2 tablespoons, and I always have to tell Matt the original amount, and then he does the math in his head. Otherwise, between translation, it somehow gets messed up. So then we're gonna do, here's another quick shot of the recipe, and I'll speed it up in the video with Matt adding things into the pot. little tomato girl smelled the tomatoes. Are you coming down here for salsa? You want some zucchini salsa? Gracie, you can't have that. This girl loves tomatoes, don't you? Gracie, you like tomatoes? You like tomatoes? So hopefully when we make this salsa again next year, we won't go through 30 jars in 1 year, but pretty close. Maybe 10 jars. We can grow some onions, and then we can say pretty much everything in here besides maybe the tomato paste would be...
We can make tomato paste.
Oh, okay, we'll make tomato paste. Would be from our garden. Well, I guess with the exception of the spices. We're not gonna get that technical. So that pot is pretty full. We probably could have split it into 2 pots, but we were feeling pretty confident. So got to mix it all together and incorporate all the spices. Do we not have a long enough spoon?
I'm good.
We're good? Yeah? Trying to mix it all together without it sloshing all over the place.
No.
And now that everything is mixed together, we will bring it to a boil, let it simmer for 15 minutes. Once it's ready, then we'll fill our jars. We'll put them in the water bath so that they seal shut. Remove them from the water bath and wait and listen to hear the little pop. And now we wait. And our washed jars are in the dishwasher, clean and ready to go with their bands. You can reuse the bands, you just cannot reuse the lids, which we have a box of fresh lids right here. And then we also have these, are really nice, the disposable labels, so they easily wash off in the dishwasher just with hot water, so you can reuse all your mason jars. All right, it's starting to boil, so that was about almost an hour to get that to boil. So we'll mix it up and then we'll let this simmer for probably a little bit longer than 15 minutes. And then we will get ready to start canning these. And we'll have to do this in batches because only about 7 jars will fit in that water bath at one time. But they are only going to be in the water bath for 15 minutes. So we'll have to do it about 4 times. Alright, it's now time to start filling up our jars. So we are adding a 1/4 teaspoon of citric acid into each pint jar. This is just for safety measures. To be extra, taking extra precautions so that we don't get botulism from canning our own food. So this is all ready to go. So now Matt's putting the funnel on and we will fill up the jars. And it is also important to mention that we will not fill this up to the top here. We will leave a little bit of head space. So just so that 1/4 of an inch of head space. So he's using the ladle. It was about 2 ladlefuls. So that one has a little bit of space at the top. So then we'll proceed to fill these 7 jars. They will fit all on this water bath stand. So go in the pot. Let them sit in that water bath for 15 minutes, and then once they're done, we'll use this jar lifter to pull them out of the water bath. And then they will rest on the counter for at least 24 hours. And we just put a lot of like old towels on our counter just to help with mess and protecting the counter, because the jars are hot, the liquid going into them is really hot, and if perchance some accident happens, then at least it'll be easy mess to clean up. Another step that we take after the jars are all full is wiping off the rim to make sure that you get a clean, good seal. Now we're placing on the lids and the bands, and only to fingertip tight. And the reason they have to be fingertip tight is because you want the air, once it's under pressure with the heat of being in the water bath, the air to be able to escape. Otherwise, you're going to have some dangerous cans of salsa on your hands. And you know, while we're at it, waiting for things to finish in the water bath, we're just going to process a little bit, not fully, our tomatillas. So I'm going to roast these up and freeze them to process on another day. Alright, a little bit of olive oil, salt, and pepper. We're going to roast these at 400 for about an hour. Did everybody hear that? There's a couple of little pings. The last step as they are sitting and resting now is to just let a paper towel sit on top of the lid and just soak up the water. You don't want to actually touch the lid, so if you just gently put the paper towel on top and let it soak up all the excess water that is on top. If you don't hear the ping, then you can either 1, reprocess them, or 2, after they're fully cooled, stick them in the refrigerator, and then you just have refrigerator salsa that does have a lot more shorter of a shelf life. 3 hours later, and we are done canning. So we processed 22 jars of zucchini salsa, and overall, pretty much all of them popped, except for this one, so I will check on that tomorrow. And if not, that will be my refrigerator salsa for the week. But yum! My favorite. Tomatillas are done out of the oven, but these will deal with on another day. That's a wrap.